Welcome to the Heavy Spoilers Show. I'm your host Paul, aka your friendly neighbourhood spoiler man, and it's time to get into the X-Men 97 finale is less than a week away, and I thought we'd go over all our predictions for what's coming down the line. I've looked at the comics, things said on Twitter by Bo DeMeo, and basically everything that I think is going to happen. So to me, my spoiler men, hit me baby one more time, and let's dive into X-Men 97. Obviously, there may be some spoilers here too, as we will be talking about things from the comics. If you enjoy it though, please hit the thumbs up, and let's get into X-Men 97. Now the first thing I want to talk about is the ending of episode 9. The master of magnetism was pushed to the brink, and he basically realised he needed to do something drastic. We closed out with him committing one of his most famous acts, which comes from X-Men 25. Ripped right out of the comics and Wolverine's body, we saw him removing his adamantium skeleton. I think when I was growing up, can't remember much of my childhood, but when I was growing up, this was like the thing that was burned into my memory the most, and it was so good seeing it in live action. From this point on, Wolverine had his bone claws, which I think is something we'll also get in the show. Up until this point in the comics, it was believed the claws were part of the adamantium skeleton, but this confirmed that they in fact came from his bones. So yes, Wolverine will get out of it, but something worse is born from this moment. That is Onslaught, which is something we predicted at the end of episode 7. Soon as Bastion was experimenting on Magneto, we figured this could be the direction they were going. Now in order to talk about Onslaught, we first have to go into how it's created. After seeing the adamantium pulled out of Wolverine, Professor X goes absolutely crazy. He psychically blasts Magneto with full force, which is something I think will happen next week. Professor X absorbed all his darkest parts, which I think might be the way that he changes the villain's mind. Magneto is actually my second favourite Marvel character, and that's because of the character's complexity. That doesn't fit me anymore. The first character is the Hulk, by the way, but I think with Magneto, you kind of really see things from his point of view. However, he definitely has a dark side, which is something that Professor X takes in. So perhaps this is how he wins him round and stops Magneto from taking out humanity. This would mean that he doesn't have to kill him, and I think it's a path Xavier would go down. Now unfortunately, it creates something in his subconscious that ends up being way worse. Onslaught builds away in the background, and eventually bursts forth from him, becoming a massively overpowered villain. I believe that they'll at least tease towards that, and that in the end he'll be a threat for season 2. However, they could bring it forth next week and have all the heroes coming together to fight it. This would give us a big season team up, and yeah, I'd love to see that if we got it for the finale. Also, if you love the classics, make sure you check out our partners at Arrow Video. They sell a ton of 4K Blu-rays and lots of classic films, and are my go-to when I want to pick up a movie. The X-Men obviously develop incredible powers in their teens, and that had me going back to Carrie. Such an amazing film, the transfer's incredible too, and with my code you're going to get 10% off. Just click my link in the description and use the code Heavy Spoilers and you're going to get 10% off. Definitely go check out the site because there'll be a movie on there that you love, and remember to use my code Heavy Spoilers at the checkout. Shabow! Now as for Bastion, I think he'll be defeated as well, but they may leave a part of him alive. In the comics, the character's beheaded with that still retaining consciousness. There is a panel where they come across it suspended from wires like how he was in episode 9, and yeah, I think that's going to be something we get in the entry. Unfortunately, I don't think the X-Men are going to come out unscathed, and I think Rogue is going to take a beating. She's obviously turned against the family, and I think this fight's going to lead to her being in a coma. Now why I think this is because it becomes a big part of Messiah Complex. I believe the next two major stories we're going to tackle are that, and also Avengers Vs X-men. Look at the size of that. Jesus Christ. Big book, lots of stuff going on, and yeah, I can't see them handling that all in a season, but we will talk about later on which elements I think they're going to pick from. Now, Messiah Complex is important for a reason, as it sees the rebirth of the mutants. That came off the back of House of M, which is another book as well. Listen to this. Bloody hell. Gonna have to put in for a workplace injury for that. I can't walk anymore. But obviously at the end of that, Wanda uttered the phrase, "No more mutants." Yes, I dropped it on my knee. Now the mutants were wiped out across the world and they were left with just a couple hundreds. That was until Hope came along in Messiah Complex and we saw a war break out on the planet. Mr. Sinister, Cable, the Marauders, X-Men, everyone wanted her, and it was a story filled with twists and turns. Cable ended up grabbing the child named Hope and the pair were chased across the globe. This included Bishop trying to kill the baby, which we learn more about in the future. Multiple Man and Layla Miller travelled out to it where they found a young Bishop in the camps. Turned out he'd heard Hope was the reason all the mutants were enslaved, and thus his older version was trying to hunt her down. In the end, she got handed over to Mr. Sinister, where it was revealed this was actually Mystique. Mystique had wanted to use the baby to revive Rogue, and she pressed Hope up to her skin. Now this worked, and it woke Rogue up, but she hated the fact that a baby had been put in danger. So I do feel like Rogue may end up comatose next week, and this could lead into Mystique returning. Now Cable took Hope into the future, which is where he trained her for battle. In the present, the Phoenix Force returned, and Hope and Cable both came back. The Phoenix Force had been looking for her, which then takes us into Avengers Vs X-men. And that's like, you know, you've seen the size before, that's like Season 3 predictions, but I do believe that AVX is coming. We've had a little teasers to the greater Marvel Universe with every episode layering something in. Stark Industry signs have appeared a number of times, Captain America, Spider-Man, and recently the Hulk. Sure, it was Morph posing, but that Hulkbuster base also appeared too. We also had Doctor Doom, possibly linking in with a Fantastic Four cartoon. Now, I'd love to see it if we got several separate series, and please Marvel, give us Spider-Man 98. I'd also love it if we got an Avengers series, Iron Man 1, Hulk, and Fantastic Four 1. These latter ones could build off the original series, which are also up on Disney Plus now. Then we'd have our two established sides, and we could be going towards Avengers vs X-men. I think introducing all these characters is layering the seeds, and that we will eventually see both facing off. Avengers vs X-men is a massive, massive event, and it would be absolutely insane to see it building towards that. Now, Rob from Comics Explained, I don't know why I did that, he also theorised that he thinks Gambit could be revealed to be Death, with him being a horseman of apocalypse. Professor X already saw him as the Grim Reaper, and going that direction would be absolutely insane. And there are also theories that this might tie into Deadpool and Wolverine. That is, of course, the next Marvel release, and yeah, it's a strategy that the studio used to have. There was a time, mate, was a time before Phase 4 when post-credit scenes actually used to tease something that was coming very shortly. I kinda hate it how we've got like 10 ones that still haven't been resolved yet, so I'd love to see them get back to paying things off. I think it would be so good if it turned out the Wolverine we see here is also the one that Deadpool recruits. Like, how mental would it be to have all the X-Men die next week and then for it to say in the credits, Wolverine will return? It would make my hype for the movie go even higher, but I don't know if that's the way we're gonna go. The Wolverine in the trailer has his metal claws, which I don't know if this guy's gonna be using his for a long time. Still though, I think it's worth bringing up because the two are so close together. Bartomeu has said the finale is going to be big, and what bigger way to end it than that? Deadpool is also jumping across the multiverse, and it could be a way to bring this character to live action. Feige actually stated recently he's considering canonizing this show into the MCU, and I think fan reception could definitely make that possible. Obviously, it might be a little too late because this cartoon has been finished for a while now. Still though, I'd love to see that happen, and the show has been a much needed win. Now lastly, I feel like Storm's going to become the leader because the X-Men have been left in shambles. Also, have you guys noticed how many times the word shambles is used when describing the current state of the MCU? Bit weird, because shambles is just a weird term, you don't hear it that often. But you do hear it every time they say the MCU's in shambles. Anyway, Xavier isn't really someone that people are following, and we saw this in the case of Rogue and Sunspot. Cyclops is also torn as well, and therefore I think we're going to end with Storm in charge. She's been the group's leader in the comics before, and I think she's the only real possible candidate. Xavier even left Magneto in charge and hung out with Ishio because it's clear he felt the leadership was better in someone else's hands. So, just got a text off Ryan Airy.
Shut the f*** up, Ryan Airy!
Don't know if you can see that. It says, Your channel's much better than mine. Everyone should subscribe to you instead of me. Anyway, I don't feel like Cyclops is in the right place either, and Wolverine's probably a bit tied up with where we left him off. Could say he's in shambles, mate. Anyway, those are my main predictions for how things are going to go, and what we could be setting up down the line. Obviously, I'd love to hear your comments too, so make sure you drop them in the comment section below. Please hit the thumbs up as well, and if you want to support the channel as a member of the Spoiler Society, then please click the join button. We get early access to videos every week, and it goes a long way to helping us out and making sure videos like this can get made. If you want to get some Heavy Spoilers merch, we've also got our t-shirt line located right below the video that will let you pick up all kinds of tops like our Theory Time one, House of Dragons stuff, Marvel teasing a lot more. We drop new designs on there all the time as well, so yeah, definitely keep an eye out on them, and thanks for your support. Now if you want something else to watch, make sure you check out our breakdown of yesterday's episode. Lots of Easter eggs, lots of different theories, and yeah, if you enjoyed this video, I'll see you over there. If you've already seen it, mate, well thanks a bloody lot. We've got a boys trailer breakdown as well, if you want to head over there for that. And yeah, huge thank you, and enjoy the rest of your week. I will be back on Monday to talk more in depth about X-Men, and yeah, that finale, it's right around the corner. Huge thank you for sitting through the video. I've been your host Paul, and I'll see you next time. Take care.